Huh. You know, I think this is the first time I've ever actually waypointed just to the top up here. I'm actually a little bit weirded out by that because I don't think I've ever done it. I think I've always had to walk up from the bottom. Very weird. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Gw2. Been a little while with Halloween and so forth going on. I swear these two levels, I can't remember what level I was at the last episode, but seriously, these two levels going from level 20 to 22 feel like they've taken an eternity. Really, oh my god, I can't imagine what the rest of it's going to be like with these slowly getting longer and longer and longer. Well, off screen, basically all I've done, I think I explored a little bit more of the plains of Ashford. I definitely explored a lot more of the Yahala Plateau. I've kind of explored most of it. It's a very cool dungeon place up here, which maybe I'll show off at some point. Actually, I'd love to do like another community meetup at that area. But I've been doing most of this and actually going through to try and 100% this map, which I didn't do with the Plains of Ashford, I don't believe. Or did I? No, I didn't. I've done a fair bit of the Plains of Ashford, but I haven't really been over here. So yeah, I've been kind of doing that to level up. I definitely do feel like on the game it's fastest leveling upping if you're actually completing the areas. Like, I'm also leveling another char, a char Thief of my own on my main account. And my god, that's taking ages as well, and he's like only level 53. It feels horrible because I just desperately want him at the end of the game. But anyway, hello everyone, we're going to continue on. We need to receive new orders from Ritlock in his office at the top of the Imperator's Court. Now, I'm going to be lazy. I was going to edit in, or maybe I could edit in. No, I doubt it would be satisfying. There's a, think back, okay, to right at the start when we heard about this guy that died in the crypt. The crypt collapsed, we managed to get out, Ritlock managed to get out, but we had another guy in our warband, didn't we? And he had some kind of a trinket with him. Remember that? And I went on this little speech about how all of the Char storyline stuff ties into one another. Well, we've already seen a bit of an example of that, because all the members of our warband that we slowly recruited have at least somewhat been appearing in the second chapter of the story. Well, now we're into the third chapter, and it continues even through there. So, we'll speak to Ritlock, and his buddy apparently isn't here anymore. How are you doing, Ritlock?
Listen close, Centurion. We've got a serious problem, and you're already involved. The orders of Tyria have come to me about one of your soldiers, Howl the Brazen.
Howl's dead, sir. He died fighting Duke Baradin. I've seen his grave.
Yes, and before he died, Howl apparently bought a dangerous magical amulet from the necromancer Rissa. Where that amulet goes, the undead follow. Rissa has been distributing them all over the region. The orders want to examine Howl's amulet to see what they're up against. The High Legions want to forge a working relationship with the orders, so you're going to join their investigation. Reps from the Vigil, Derman Priory, and the Order of Whispers will meet you at Howl's grave. Confer with all three, but focus on the one most likely to get results. You got it?
Yes, sir. Howl was one of mine. I'll do whatever it takes to get to the bottom of this.
Now, the orders, I talked a little bit about when we were on the human, when we were on Natalie before. They're a really weird one for me. I'm not sure whether I'm happy the way they're done. Like, before the game came out, they were made out to be these really kind of very important things, and I suppose to an extent they are in the story of Guild Wars 2. They do remain these very important things, but you'll see they kind of change like halfway through the plot and then become kind of insignificant. So before the game came out, we were like, oh, everything about the orders, and then I remember when I first played through this, I was a bit disappointed that the storyline, like Ritlock there was just like, oh yeah, the orders, and expects us to know who they are, when in theory we've never met them. I mean, you can see some of them in their small bases around your capital city, and that's true for every single race in the game, except that you'd never really have any reason to explore all those areas of your capital city, and I get the feeling a lot of people really wouldn't have any idea who the orders or what the orders were, and then the story's just like, oh okay, hello, you know, you can come along and see them. So I don't know whether I'm really happy with that or upset about that, because then they turn out to not be so significant in the plot anyway. It's a bit weird. But anyway, so we're actually going to continue. We're going to go forward with this. I was tempted with kind of swapping characters maybe a little bit early when we got the order decision here, but I want to continue on. Now, I know what order I'm going to have this character join, but that doesn't mean you guys don't get to make more choices as we go forward. So at the end of this episode, I will be asking you guys something else about how you proceed with a problem that will soon be coming up. But anyway, the personal story step's actually very easy to find here. Just graveyard ornaments, really close to the Black Citadel. This actually could be a really quick episode. Yes, enter instance, let's do it. Which would be very funny. Look at that grub, lovely. Which would be really funny considering it took me so long to level up the 2 levels to do it, to get to level 22. Okay, so Howl's gravesite is nearby. No, we've already walked by here. This was that forest I mentioned that I'd seen in the trailer
It's
before.
also about dragons and the undead.
So you still think this necromancer Rissa was an agent of the Elder Dragons?
On Zaitan, yes. And don't ask how I know. It's the Order of Whispers' business to know things.
The Priory concurs. We don't know much about Rissa, but we do know she was corrupted.
Then finding and killing her is our priority, not digging around in graveyards.
That's why Brimstone sent us the Centurion.
Hello.
Our orders never agree on anything.
Well, there you go. So something to do with a necromancer. Necromancer Rissa.
Welcome, Centurion. Glad to have you with us. I am Yahala Scribepaw of the Derman Priory. My colleagues are...
I don't need you to speak for me. I'm Gw2 Towerbreaker of the Vigil. Glad to have another military mind on this mission.
I am Kurakon, concerned blacksmith from the Order of Whispers. We specialize in covert activity, information, infiltration, and assassination. I'm sure Tribune Brimstone briefed you, but to review, all three orders are dedicated to stopping the Elder Dragons. Your late bandmate may be connected.
I understand the mission parameters. Hal's grave is right there. What are we waiting for? See? That's how a military mind works. Identify the problem, attack it head on. None of this sneaking around, talking things to death.
We were waiting for you, Centurion. There's a complication between us and the objective. Namely, a throng of undead grubs.
And since this used to be a bandmate of yours, we thought it prudent to wait before we dug him up. Now that you're here, though, let's start squashing.
It was so nice of you guys to think of me. Okay, so these are our three reps, our representatives of the three orders. As I said, I already know all the characters that I'm going to be showing off in this list, but I know where they're going, which order. So that's not up for grabs, but there are other minor decisions we'll be making soon. But if you guys are wondering, I'm not going to reveal where we're going to be going, but straight away you might think, oh, well, this guy with the Shining Blade probably seems quite fitting for our character, because he's to do with assassination, infiltration, and we're Ash Legion, right? So he's quite fitting. The guy from the Vigil also is pretty fitting too, if you think about it, because he's very military. With a char, we live, we breathe for war, so he's pretty fitting too. And even maybe to an extent, this Derman Priory person, the Seekers of Knowledge, is quite fitting to us, because I mean, me as a player, I'm quite into that kind of stuff, so even she might work quite well. Plus, it would be kind of interesting to see a char play against type and go be such a scholar, which char aren't necessarily renowned for, though of course they can be, because we can see one right here. So yeah, have that in mind as we go forward. Garn says, you must be the Centurion that Brimstone promised us. I've reviewed your record and I'm looking forward to working with you. Sure, first things first, my comrade, blah, blah, blah. And this guy has to say, this blacksmith. By the way, say that with quotes, probably. A blacksmith. Yeah, he's not really a blacksmith. Greetings, I may just be a humble blacksmith, but even I've heard of your exploits. I can't wait to see you in action. Sure, you'll get your chance, blacksmith. But I first want to check out Hal's grave, sure. For some reason, the Priory woman doesn't have anything to say.
What do you need to know?
I don't know, just anything that you have to say. So that's kind of weird. Let's go on down. And here's the grave, of course. You can see this in the main world. Would have no idea. It's a little bit, I guess, like the house of your deceased parents as a human that takes that specific story. It's one of those places that should sort of mean something to your char, and every single char in the game, really. I mean, this was family to us. This was our friend. This was someone we grew up with, fought with, lived with, died, and then he died by our side, pretty much. But no one ever cares or takes any heed to it. They just kind of run by. Also, you'll notice, I think I'm actually using a new weapon. I'm almost 99% sure I didn't use an axe on the LP before. So this is axe main hand with shield offhand. Shield's quite nice. Shield stance just makes you block. It pretty much means that you block everything that comes your way. You'll still obviously take damage from conditions that have already been applied to you. Nice skill, actually. I kind of always frown at skills like that. I'm a bit like, oh, what is the usefulness of them in things like PvE, at least? But actually, it's kind of useful. For me, I kind of use it as something to tide me over while I'm waiting for my cooldown on something to tick off. We've got our burst skill on main hand axe, which is eviscerate, moves us, does a lot of damage. Was far more impressive and interesting in the betas. Maybe it's just because I'm a low level warrior and I don't truly appreciate that it's quite strong, but it feels a lot weaker than it used to. That was such a cool skill before. But still, it's a pretty impressive burst skill. And then for main hand axe, so the shield you can block with, or you can smack people in the face, like charge into them and stun them. And then the main hand axe allows you to throw it at people to pursue them, which will cripple them, spin around, and then just attack. If you go axe offhand, you can spin around and stuff, which I'll, in an even more exciting way, which I'll show off later on, I suppose. Right, anyway, here's the grave. Why is she the only one that's come... Okay, alright, maybe I missed that. Sure, no one else wants to come. So here's Hal's grave. And there were the undead grubs here, as we saw. And you can see now maybe the story is starting to evolve into something different.
No amulet here. There isn't even a body. Either someone dug up your friend or he dug himself out. If Gon here wasn't so humorless, I might say, this is a dead end.
Go hammer your anvil, blacksmith. The adults are talking. Look, our objective hasn't changed. We still need to secure one of those amulets.
I'm afraid I must leave that to you two. Without the amulet in hand, I need to confer with my colleagues before the Priory can commit to a course of action.
We have the Necromancer's records. We know the location of at least 2 more of Rissa's trinkets. I say we start in Drugar's homestead. Me and my fellow blacksmiths do a lot of business there. We have valuable contacts at the location that we can't afford to lose.
Scorch what your associates can afford. The people of Snowdrift's Haven have already been attacked, and they need our protection now.
You can't save everyone, Crusader. And since our new friend here can't be in 2 places at once, who are you going to protect, Centurion?
Ah, so there you go. Because we have to assume that people are totally incompetent and are destined to fail if we don't go with them. So, yeah, we have a decision to make here. She's being lame. She's not coming with us. Fine. Whatever. So we get to choose. Scorch this, scorch that with Crusader Garn Towerbreaker, or go hang out with some other blacksmiths with Crochan the blacksmith. So totally up to you guys, as I say. I'm going to actually... Wow, this episode's so short. Well, what an explosive comeback for the LP. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let me know what you think, which one we should go for. Maybe you've played this part, if you want to see me do the other one. Whichever, I don't mind. And I will see you tomorrow for the continuation of our story. As you can see, we're now kind of going into some other stuff, and depending on our choices here, we'll be leaving Ascalon very, very far away. So yeah, thank you guys, and I will see you next time.